segment brought to you by SureCrop, liquid crop nutrition delivered right to your farm.
Hi, I'm Jim Schroyer, and with us we have Dr. Jeff Whitworth, our Kansas State Extension entomologist. Jeff, thanks for being with us.
Yes, my pleasure.
Jeff, we got some defoliation here on the canopy. We've talked about bean leaf beetle, but let's talk about the other defoliators. There's a bunch of them.
There are a bunch of defoliators in soybeans. Apparently soybeans are very attractive to a lot of different insects as far as leaf feeding goes, because as you can see here, there is a lot of it going on. Like I said, the first pest we normally see in soybeans feeding on the leaves is the bean leaf beetle. After that, there's a whole host of insects that come about depending upon the season and depending upon the year. Generally speaking, the second pest we see in soybeans feeding on the leaves is a green clover worm. And generally that starts in southeast Kansas and moves across the state. I can always tell when we're starting to see the green clover worms because I start getting calls from southeast Kansas. The thing is, they don't overwinter in Kansas, so it's when those moths come up and start laying eggs. And the green clover worms, in 2016, we probably had more than I've ever seen before. Probably 75% of the soybean fields in the state were sprayed for green clover worms. They are serious defoliators. They can, the nice thing about green clover worms, they're really easy to control if you decide you have to control them. And also there's a white fungus in Bavaria bassiana. It's the same fungus that controls chinch bugs sometimes. It will help control green cloverworm populations once they get to a certain point. The problem with that is there's a lag time between the green cloverworm and the white fungus actually killing enough of them to make a difference as far as the defoliation goes.
Otherwise, though, until that happens, you're going to have that field be skeletalized like it is right here.
Yes, that green cloverworm, they'll have 2 or 3 generations in Kansas. So that first generation is usually not as big as the second or the third generation, but they can, as you can see, they can do considerable defoliation. And then on top of that, you have grasshoppers. Grasshoppers come in usually mid-July, and they'll start feeding on the leaves. Then you have the bean leaf beetle will feed on the leaves also. But then you have, in this year, in 2017, what we saw is an outbreak of thistle caterpillars or painted ladies.
They're the same thing.
The thistle caterpillar turns into the painted lady as an adult. Those are migratory. They don't overwinter in Kansas either, but this year the first generation was about normal, but the second generation, which we're just seeing the end of, it's more than I've ever seen as far as densities go throughout the south central and the north central part of the state. Those are also defoliators. Now what they do is they will web up the leaves. So if you see this webbing here, yes, that's where the caterpillar has fed, and it has now pupated. And they'll pupate in a very characteristic chrysalis that hangs off the leaf, and then they take off and fly away, I hope. Again, we're just now seeing this adult generation emerge. I don't know if they're going to lay eggs again this year or hopefully head south for the winter, but they are migratory. So you have bean leaf beetles feeding on it, you have green clover worms, you have thistle caterpillars or painted ladies, and you have grasshoppers. You always have grasshoppers in Kansas on all the crops. So they're adding to the mix. So once you get up to the 40 to 50% defoliation in the early reproductive stages of the soybeans, that's when you may want to consider an insecticide application. The best way to go out and see what the defoliators are is take your sweep net, sample to see what's there, and then if you have any, go out and do the actual treatment threshold counts where you do shake the plant over 1 row foot or 3 row feet or whatever it is in several places in the field. And that will tell you how many you have and whether it's going to justify an insecticide application or not.
Jeff, thanks as always.
Hey,
Appreciate
my pleasure.
The Kansas Wheat Innovation Center in Manhattan is rediscovering ways to get improved varieties and new genetics in the hands of farmers faster. Grower-led and checkoff-funded research initiatives are bringing about positive change. This grassroots leadership provides a strong voice in Topeka and Washington, D.C. Now is the time to partner with Kansas Wheat in moving wheat forward. Kansas Wheat Commission and Kansas Association of Wheat Growers. Farmers investing in their future and yours. Log on to rediscoverwheat.org.